It had been one of those weeks where everything felt like too much. The car wouldn't start. Rain kept falling. Her patience was almost gone. Standing in the driveway, arms folded and hair damp from the drizzle, she stared at the old car, silently willing it to come back to life, with her husband away on a business trip. There was no one nearby to help except for someone she hadn't seen in a while, her nephew. He showed up about an hour later, pulling into the driveway in his pickup. When he stepped out, there was that familiar smirk she remembered from years ago. Something about it softened her frustration. He looked older now, more sure of himself. Taller, broader, and already bearing the signs of a mechanic. Wind-tousled hair, grease-streaked hands. She had held those hands when he was a boy, helping him cross the street, patching him up after playground scrapes. Now those same hands carried tools and knew how to fix things. "Still giving you trouble?" he asked, nodding toward the car. "It hates me," she said with a tired smile. His low, warm chuckle grounded her more than she expected. He grabbed his tools and opened the hood. They worked together well. Mostly he worked while she handed him tools and watched the calm rhythm of his movements. He belonged in that space, surrounded by the hum of tools and oil. Being there with him felt strangely natural. They chatted at first about simple things, the weather, family, his new job at the garage down the road. Slowly, the conversation drifted into shared memories. They laughed about burnt toast and her terrible lullabies. The laughter came easy, like finding an old photo you didn't realize you missed. Their hands brushed once as she passed him a wrench. A spark of awareness passed between them. She pulled away quickly, pretending to wipe her jeans. He didn't say anything, but she could tell he noticed. Then he asked about her art, something she hadn't talked about in years. "I used to hang your sketches on my wall," he said. That simple statement touched her, not because of the drawings, but because he remembered, because she mattered to him. The light in the garage flickered. Rain tapped on the windows. Surrounded by tools and memories, something unspoken began to stir. Not love, not lust, just a quiet shift neither of them could ignore. The next day, she kept checking the time, counting down until he returned. When he did, he got to work like usual, but there was something different. A softness in his voice, a new energy between them. They moved in sync. She didn't need to ask what tool he needed. She handed it to him before he asked. Their conversations deepened. He told her how he almost didn't come back. She opened up about how empty the house had felt for years. And for once, she didn't feel judged. He listened in a way most people didn't, tasking what made her laugh, what she missed, what she'd change if she could. "I miss being wanted," she admitted quietly. Not for attention, but for being seen. Really seen. He didn't flinch, just nodded, like he'd been waiting for her to say it. At one point, he gently wiped an oil smudge off her cheek. She didn't move, neither did he. "You look different," he said, voice low. More alive. Something had shifted. Neither of them said it out loud, but it was there when he sat beside her on the old bench in the corner. The space between them felt charged. He leaned slightly closer, not out of impulse, but quiet bravery. Their shoulders touched. She didn't move away. The rain softened outside, and everything else faded. It was more than attraction. It was presence. It was real. He stood to leave, lingering. She watched him go, heart pounding, not in fear, but in the knowledge that something had awakened. That night, she barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the way he'd looked at her, felt the silence between them, thick with meaning. The next day, she opened the garage early, humming without realizing it. When he arrived, they didn't need words. The tension from before hadn't vanished, it had just become familiar. Their touches lingered longer. Conversations came slower but deeper. Not just stories, but truths. He spoke of doubts and feeling unseen. She confessed how her life had dulled into a quiet gray. And somewhere between their shared confessions, they stopped being just aunt and nephew. They became two people simply trying to feel something real again. The car was almost fixed, but neither of them mentioned it. The repair had become a reason to be near each other. At one point, when she handed him a cloth, he held on longer than needed. She didn't pull away. "I don't know what this is," he said quietly. "Neither do I," she replied, her voice trembling with honesty. He sat beside her again. Their silence was full, not awkward, but rich. He leaned closer, just enough to blur the boundary. She didn't stop him, no dramatic kiss. No declarations. Just stillness. Warmth, breath, truth. When he left, They didn't define what they were. They didn't need to. The final repair the next day took just minutes. The engine purred. "She's running better than ever," he said. But neither looked at the car. "Thank you," she told him. "For fixing it. For everything. You don't have to thank me," he said, stepping closer. "I didn't come back just for the car." Her breath caught. Not in surprise, but in relief. She reached out, gently touching his arm. "Not bold, just real." "I don't know where this goes," she whispered, "but it feels honest," he said. And it did. No promises. No fantasies. Just two people finally acknowledging the connection they had stopped denying. He leaned his forehead against hers. It wasn't a grand gesture. It was soft, sincere. A moment built on recognition. After he left, she stood in the garage, listening to the engine's steady rhythm. But what had truly been repaired wasn't mechanical. It was something inside her, and whatever came next, she knew it would be real. Not rushed, not wrong, just real.